Hello friends, welcome again to another Prefect 99 live stream. The observant amongst you may have realised that we are not at Gibraltar anymore. I flew back in one sector offline and unfortunately had some major issues coming into London and actually sort of over the northern bit of the Bay of Biscay with frame rate issues. The weather was a little bit heavy. But X-Plane ended up coming to an absolute crawl, even when below the clouds. I tried reducing scenery, I tried turning shadows off, and it was down into single digits, so something somewhere is causing that to die, which is not great. It's the lack of ability of being able to reproduce it accurately, and also the fact that it's sort of so variable. As you can see, clear weather here, we're only getting 42, 43. It wasn't the CPU, so it seemed like it was objects. The GPU was being absolutely hammered. It was the GPU that was going up to 600-700. So I think that's definitely something to do with whatever issues there are with TDRs, for instance. Turning that off means that the sim doesn't crash, but it does kill everything else. And it's just the lack of consistency with it. So I've turned everything back up. It's a nice clear day. Hopefully, I don't know if it's driver issues or what, but at some point, if I get it relatively stable, I think we're going to stick with it. So hopefully today will be okay. I have saved that video. I just didn't stream it, so I will upload it at some point. Anyway, we're going to do a quick trip down to Newquay. We've done it before, obviously. But with the G7 on, why not? Down and back in one stream. It shouldn't take too long. It's about an hour block time each way. Heathrow has got ground online and they're using the 27, so we'll be departing 25, but there's no ATC for here or on arrival. So, whatever. Let's jump in and start getting set up. There we go. So 2105 till the 17th of June. That's this week is AIRBORNE week. Every 4 weeks, in case you haven't noticed. Let's get the GPU enabled, shall we? And we'll
TOS system test. Okay.
The GPU on.
Such traffic, flyer 95 Echo, entering backtrack runway 27.
TCAS test. Pass.
DCAS is done, everything else is done, annunciators work.
Fire. 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 Fire.
Tell the subtle difference between those two.
Echo traffic to Speedbird 492 uniform is on Bravo 4 November 2 from runway 27 left.
I'm just going to flick that over so we don't hear it. Belts are off. Pumps off, off. Fine, don't need to check the lights. Pop those to auto. Check the throttles. Of course, for the walk around, you can check the flaps at full. Brakes on. Everything else is fine. That can come on. The upwash can come off. And we're on ground power, so let's flip the nav lights on. And of course, for the walk around again, you can go around and check all of those. Let's get the aeroplane fueled up. Crew may have already done that. The ground crew, anyway. So you can see here, Bournemouth is our en route alternate. Exeter is our actual alternate. With what have we got there? 189 and 206 as our final reserve. Gives us 395. And And we want 1262. Of course, in reality, we would probably work out what we were going to take and what we were going to come back with. Probably take all the fuel down there. So let me see if I can actually do that. We're going to need 1030 back with estimating for the trip 375 on the way back. And the same 15 minutes. We've got 30 minutes extra on the way down. So if we think we are going to burn 459 and we've got contingency plus 375. 375 is already included in the one. 459 is already included in the 1262 that we've requested here. So really we should only need the reserve fuel, the trip fuel on the way back, plus 375, and are we going to creep into the difference between 395 and on the way back it's 430? Why don't we just take 1640 and see what we end up with? That should do us. That works. So 1640 is what we're going to take, and hopefully that'll be enough to get us back as well with our reserve, because we only need 130. We are payload limited on the way back, but not fuel limited. To take an extra 679. So in theory, we could just fuel this up to max fuel and see what we could get away with. So with that in mind, 1640 is down. Oh, we look around outside, still looking quite nice. It is a pretty good exterior model, apart from the windows, which are just a little bit, I think it could do with some high resolution cutouts around those, I suppose, compared to the engines and everything else. They're a bit low res. You can see it's ever so. It's pretty awful, isn't it? The panning around is so blocky. I really can't wait to get Vulkan working again. Well, it hasn't worked for ages, so fingers crossed. And when it does start working, I'll be sure not to update and explain. So 1645 is what we've got. Majesty's finest Jet A1. The departures for Compton initially is 3, so we'll set 3. You can see the pressure altitude today, minus 260, and I will get the weather for Northup. It is weather is 9:20 Zulu, which is not that long ago. Zulu 160 at 2, so very light winds. Cav OK. I'm gonna dig out the definition and keep repeating that because that's 027, quite important. No sig, remark blue, and forecast blue. Fine. So let's set 1027. Go click, and then one more. That gives us airport elevation 126. Close enough, that isn't it? Because if we do that, okay, whatever, close enough. The runway initial heading is 250. For the departure, Compton 4 Yankee, we are going to go direct to Chiltern, Henton, Compton. Can we do anything? Bovingdon is a reference for ADROG. We can't do anything with the NDBs. So what I will set is the ILS for nav 1, 1085, which we've got set, and that's 250, which is set. Nav 2 is going to be inbound Compton. It's 225 radial 045. And then we will figure out the rest. As usual, I'm going to set 160 as our flap reminder. We will pop the flight plan in, and then I'll do the performance, and I'll do the landing performance as well, based on our weight. So our zero fuel weight here right now is 349 plus 5500, which is 5849. We have got 1643. Gives us a takeoff weight 7492. So I'm going to do all the performance based on 74. Well, for the landing anyway, because we're not going to use 74924. Taxi, so that'll give us 76. The departure. Uh, 76 will be fine. Landing. We'll have a look at. Like I say, we'll have a look at the performance for that. 1027 I can set here as well, because we know that we're only minus 250. So let's pop the fuel all over the flight plan. 643. Final reserve is 395. .643 everywhere, good. So let's pop the flight plan in. So there's the cursor. We are going to Compton. Let's get the plan up for you. 230 initially, 240. Here you go. Compton. And then airway. 321 to PEPIS. Bit 41 to Southampton. Lima 620 to DAWLY. Then inbound, we might do the procedure on the way in. It should be runway 12. The procedure takes us around like that, and would be quite efficient. It's not going to be that much more efficient to come in direct, but that's probably what you'd get in reality. No harm in following the procedure online with no ATC. So departure to 4 Yankee. Runway 25, you can see Chiltern, Henton, and out down round to Compton. You can see all of those restrictions there, which we'll try and keep as a continuous climb, but it might be a bit of a challenge. What I won't do is activate those. We'll do it all manually because we will level off otherwise even if we get cleared through and then you've got to delete them all. There is an out into vent on this procedure. Select arrival, there aren't any. Having a look at the arrivals, it's just DAWLY, everything direct to the Newquay NDB, which is overhead the airfield anyway, so it doesn't really matter that we haven't got that. And then the approach, we might as well load up the ILS for 1-2. Newquay 1, I think it's going to be Newquay 2, which is RF12, and if I have a look on the chart for Cat A and B, it's 291. I find it really odd that Cat A and B isn't Newquay procedure 1 and then 2 for the bigger ones. It's the other way around. I just find it odd. It doesn't make logical sense to me. ILS is 506, 200, so 510. Can load that up, and we're effectively now good to go. So let's. Oh, that button does work for me. Somebody else said it did. Yeah, that's useful. Performance. Let's have a look at on departure. Flap 1, dry runway, ice protection off. We said we were going to use 7.6 because we're at about 7.4, 97.5. Temperature is 2.5. 7.6 gives us 968. With speeds 104, 115. Yeah, that's the same. 968 just affects the distance. And 132 for landing. It'd be really good if this was a separate book takeoff and departure. This is handy for print, but it's not handy for use here. There we go. So having a look at the layout at Newquay, I don't think we're going to be able to stop by Bravo. That's probably asking too much. It's a 9,000 foot runway. If we really slam on the brakes, we'll be able to stop by then. So I think we don't need a full flat landing because it's probably not going to make a huge amount of difference. What's VREF? It's a couple of knots difference, isn't it? I think it's going to be relatively light winds. Let's go full flap anyway. So 1-3, landing flap full, ice protection off on, wing stab off. Good. So as you can see there, we're currently at 7492. We'd probably get down to 72. So I'm going to write down 7400, 7200. And that's going to be 7400. Take away our 0 fuel weight. 5849 means that when we get down to 1551, 1351 is 72 and 7 tons is 151, all on the fuel. Obviously, nice and easy, they're 200 pounds. I think we will probably get down to 72. The question is, do I want to put money on it? So 1351, it's about 300 kilos. Our trip is allegedly 500, so we should get down to 600. So I'm actually going to plan for 72. We'll still do the speeds and everything for 7.4, and it's a lot easier because it's just 114, 130. 7.2 is 112, 128. And 7 is 111, 126. So we'll go in between those. Let's have a look at the distances. We essentially really don't have to worry. That's flap 3, not flap full. Flap full, unfactored at Newquay is 390. So I'm going to go 1,000 feet nil wind. It's going to give us 74 is 797, 72, 782, 767. The landing distances available runway 12 is 2637. Times that by 0.6 means we need 1582. We're going to stop in half of that. So that is more than ample, even if we were doing max landing weight. It just doesn't really matter. So you can see that you don't really, on long runways, need to do the performance. You need the speeds, but you don't need to do the performance, although you always should, just to be sure. So we said 104 today, 115 and 132 for a flap 1 departure. We said 130. So we were going to go 112, 128, and a VRF of 112. And that's it. We don't really have to think about much, apart from the fact that we can reduce that down potentially. So speed's done. We're done. Check the ATIS, just Heathrow ground and Gatwick Tower, so we'll switch on to Newquay in a moment. With ATC, so we will follow our plan. So, seatbelts on as we start getting ready. Pre-flight tests complete, oxygen bottle packs auto pushed in, and we've got 1800 psi for dispatch. 27 volts on the GPU. We have 28 on the batteries and the GPU is on. Lead panel, all auto. Fuel panel, pumps auto, cross feeds off. Hydraulic panel, SOVs come on. Solenoid valves, pusher cutout is out. Noise protection, not required, ADS auto. Pressurization, see that we're currently minus 250, 389. And so it's probably just about sea level pressure, but we did the worst case on arrival. We're off then, and we will crack that up as we need to. Engine fire, bottles out, action buttons pushed out, bottles off. Start and stop both off. Ignition auto. Thrust levers are at idle. Flaps up, speed brake up, parking brake set. And shut the door, please. So door is closed and locked. Transponder 2000 set. Have set our flight plan ready for departure. And we are therefore good to start. We're on Unicom. I'm not going to call up for start because there is nobody about. There's a lot of traffic over Heathrow Way. Interesting there. You can see that just with the wind as it is, does it favour? It's weird to have them both on. We would use both unless there's wind rules in X-plane. Maybe that's what's come into it. I don't know. But obviously 27 is in use at Heathrow. I'll just double check that. Variable 4 knots, and they're still using 27 left. So sometimes you do need the disable when LS turned off. I know we're not going to Heathrow, but you don't want it to scupper us. So cleared to start. Check with the ground crew. It is 09:56. What I've done is the PFD there, and we can pop the transponder on and start up engine number 2. So departure 968. I don't think we get given. I think we can go for Bravo 1. Because it's about a quarter. We'll depart from Bravo 1. Anyway, we've got a stable engine, generators running. Let's disconnect from the GPU. Signal to disconnect externally. After the ground crew have confirmed that we have been disconnected, start engine number 1. There you go. That has now settled down. After start, GPU is disconnected. Elec emergency is pushed out. We have got greater than 23.5 volts. We've got 28.5 on the batteries and the generators. Stall protections tested. Takeoff data has been set. Trims, pitch green, rudder, and dual, both neutral. Flying controls. Full forward, full aft, full right. Full left rudder, full right rudder. Somebody on the intercom now comments 5 minutes. Nobody knows or cares. On text. Ice protection is not required, and flap 1 selected for takeoff. Flap 1 indicated. So, lights on, transponder on for taxi. Clear left, clear right. Brakes off. It is 0959. We've got 1639. And there we go, we're on our way. Let me just transition. Overlay. Taxi forward to this taxi line. So we'd normally call up, but again it doesn't really matter when there's nobody about to hear it. We can get a bit of a rolling takeoff going on.
Takeoff. Okay.
Good, takeoff config checked. CAS, no messages. Speed down for this turn. Signs set. Head belts off. Your damper is off. Ice protection. It's not required. ETR doesn't go green. Packs advised will be taking off in about 3 minutes. Lights and transponder is all we've got to do, and they are ready. See the runway hold down here. And this scenery has been accepted onto the gateway now, so annoying the fence does that, that's weird. So you shall be able to enjoy this at some point, despite my lack of getting all of this to line up, never mind. So lights, camera, action. We are not going to backtrack, we're just going to simply take straight off. It will be 10:0 something. We're going to have 16 something on board. Ortho traffic, prefect 99, lining up, taking off runway 25 Compton for Yankee departure. Still no ATC to effect, so we've called up, we're lining up. It is a shame about that fence looking clear when look, it clearly isn't. There is a fence in the way. And the buildings may not be perfect, but I suppose these ones could actually be a little shorter. Something's better than nothing though.
Approaching 2-5.
Testing, flight level 3, flight level 100, NHT-7.
On runway 25.
There we go, tail wheel locked. It's 11, 10, 0, 2. We got 1, 6, 2, 4. Off we go. Power. Let's get the engine stable. Power. Toga. So approaching V1. Rotate, hands off. Off the airplane comes. Positive ring. Gear up. There's 400. Flap up. Yaw damper on. Gear up. Flaps are up.
Emirates 40, London Heathrow, lining up E7 left.
How's it to go? So, load pilot's on, and I did manage to miss ECS, so I didn't check that very clearly, did I? We will go nav. Press nav, there we go, we're on nav. Bring power back to cruise. Airplane should be levelling off. It is, and we're going to maintain 3000 until AIRBORNE. So gear up, flaps up, yaw damper is already on. Airplane's hovering about all over the sky. Thrust levers, cruise for the moment. Pressurization checked. Altimeters cross-checked. We're still on QNH. Vice precision on command lights all on. So we're overhead Chiltern at 3. Our next is 4. So we're going to go vertical speed. No speed limit for the rest of this. 250 below 100 unless otherwise authorised. You can probably take a shortcut in a moment. You've got to get the N1 just to match that speed there. See what we get from cruise. So even AIRBORNE was a little bit keen. It's 5 miles to go 1,000 feet.
Traffic 06 Bravo for the ILS-T7 line.
What does that mean for the ILS? What does it mean? Nothing is what it means. Where are you? Who are you? Where are you? What do you want? Where are you means laterally and vertically. And that's essentially every ATC communication. No way in reality you'd get this. ATC would clear you continuous climb, as you can see. Once we get to Henton, I'm going to go straight up to our cruise of 230 to PEPIS. So we've got 13 seconds to go. Well, that would be a bit uncomfortable in the back. I did try and smooth it out. It all. So we are climbing to a flight level. Easy to miss that trigger when you've got no ATC to give you a flight level. So quite a few towers coming on, Gatwick, Manchester, East, Mids. So Newquay is 05. Drive tuned. F2, we are not tuned to Compton. There's 114 E5, now we are. So it's looking pretty quiet out there. So if I get to Plymouth, that's no Dunk as well. Why didn't I know Echo Golf Tango uniform was Dunk as well? I've flown in there. I'm departing and going to Shoreham by the looks of things. But no, HA, where's HA? No, I don't know. Compton Abbas, again, I haven't flown in there. Compton Abbas is grass, but it's on a hill, so it's well drained, so they fly a lot during the winter, unlike most grass airfields. And of course we can't get this in there, so Belle Dommage. This behind us is Bluebird 5 Alpha Charlie. GPH, Edinburgh to Gatwick. I'm pretty sure that would be a shuttle call sign in reality. Although, I don't know. So we are 2-3 until PEPIS. Not yes, and then it's 240. It's just airways and direction. There's Benson. And we'll see if we get there, if we can manage the flight with no refuel. Bit of tankering. 4-8 and 5 still climbing. Newfield 389. It's understandable that it's going to be a little bit out. Putting 330 over the ground, which is pretty good. 40. There we go, and then we'll level off. Bring the throttles back to max cruise. We're just going to leave them at max cruise and see what we get given the cruise climb. Turbulent is 232, 65 back above. But there isn't any cruise. So there isn't a cruise listed that isn't in MAC for these low-level flights like this.
Scout traffic, speed of 5 Alpha Charlie, Beacon at Bose 70.
Sea level VMO is 320. Decimal 78 mark. So something like 280 would probably be reasonable. I'm trying to think what the 73 likes to cruise at. Depends on the cost index, of course, but it's about 280, 290. So why don't we aim for something like that, although we are coming up to PEPIS, so flight level change 280 max cruise and see what we get. Probably not much. That's not bad. 250, 300 feet a minute, so it takes 3 minutes to climb. Max cruise, whatever. Southampton and the cruise terminal down here, stadium. Don't want a football match. You're going down to a cruise. Oh, sweet hell, I know. So there we are, levelling off. Let's get CSC on. 280. CSE is being a little bit sluggish. So let's just think about plumbing VNav in for our descent for guidance for the approach for ILS 1-2. We want to be overhead the locator at 3.5. We've then only got 1,500 feet to lose in 8 miles, and then it's a level platform all the way around at 2,000 to 5.2 DME. So you might as well do that. So 3.5 is there. What I will do is replicate 3,500 essentially in the same place. We'll then go to VNav profile in our nice and steep 3.5. 10 minutes till top of descent. We could of course use the 60 miles, 20,000 feet approximately, 60 miles start top of descent. That would also work, and that would mean that actually we would need to start descending at about DAWLY, which is pretty much what that's saying. So you can see that these rough rules of thumb work well enough to get you on track. I might actually leave it a little bit later, ignore VNav just a little bit, and use that rule of thumb. We can't pick up the DME, but we can certainly pick up the distance, and once we're inbound on a route, we can wake up the approach, activate that, and then descend on our way down, see what we get. There's Bridport ahead of us, Weymouth down here. We'll be descending at pretty much this speed anyway. Could probably leave it even later and do a complete idle descent. So why don't we try at 50 miles idle descent and see how we get on. So we are set. No, that was the wrong one. I wanted to put those on. Those off. We are set for the approach 506. Not set for is, let's do heading select and go to CDI. We need to set 122. No other nav aids required. Back on to GPS. There aren't really any other nav aids, it's just the NDB, which of course we can't pick up. Berry head could be useful, as could Land's End. Not a lot more to say really, so we'll wait until we're 50 miles out. We don't have any DME to tell us that. We'll just have the GPS. See Portland out here. Weymouth down here, showing about the autumn versus summer or spring textures. Looks pretty good, pretty realistic, and especially as you zoom in, it's even better. Portland heliport down there, isn't it called heliport? Portland, I don't think it is. Used to be an old Royal Navy air station. The traffic going the other way is well and truly below us. They're the ones that are going from Duncansville to come to PEPIS. That could be a private pilot just doing some practice online, although it doesn't really help with your radio work when you haven't got any LARs, or well, you haven't got any LARs in real life when the military aren't having lunch. A little bit ridiculous, but it is what it is. So we will be on our way, like I say, for top of descent initially, and I'll see if the rule of I think 2 times would work, but maybe 2.5 times, because I'm going to do it at 50. It's 10 miles, but 10 is probably not the best estimate, because that doesn't scale up with distance. So 2.5 times the distance to lose is what I'll use as the distance. 3 times is what you normally use. Like I say, we've got we're going down to 3.5, so we've got sort of around that 500, just round it up and call it 20,000 to go. 20 times 3 gives us 60 miles. But I'm going to do times 2.5, which gives us 50, and then also it does scale up. We'll see if we can get an idle path descent with a little bit of leeway for descent as well. I don't like how the sun clearly just clips it and moves smoothly. Frame rate is doing fine, GPU is hardly working, which is nice to see for a change. We'll descend at 275, which is essentially what we're cruising at. Got a little bit of a headwind that's going to help, and we can afford to be a little bit high and a little bit fast, because we don't have to have that level segment. We could have a continuous descent all the way down, seeing as there's nobody else. Procedure. Go. Exeter is our alternate, which we need 400 kilos to get to. We got loads of fuel, 1351, so we are down to 72 now, which is what I planned for. 112, 128, 112, 128 to full flap. Don't forget, just because it's quite hot, quite light. always, if you are watching, please say hi. Since we've got nobody else online to talk to. So I will set 3.5. We'll get the weather 1027. So 1027. Take away 1013 gives us 14 times 30. That's a difference of 420. So actually, the landing field elevation of 389. We've estimated 1,000 just in case. But actually today the pressure altitude is 420. Temperature doesn't affect them. So it's just air density that we're worried about. Whereas for departure, temperature affects engine power. Which is why there's temperature on those charts and there isn't on landing. Because we're just concerned on landing with ground speed. The ground speed is what determines the vast majority of the landing roll. So like I say, we're not going to go out top of the 7 point, but it's good to have for reference. Having done this trip in a PA28, not this exact trip, but down to Perranporth, because I didn't want to pay Newquay's landing fee of about 30 quid, free parking for 90 minutes. Although maybe one day, well, that was a 2-hour trip in a PA28, which, when you think about it, is quite impressive because, of course, this aeroplane is significantly more expensive per hour. Or you get there a little bit quicker, but the fact that you're just going in a straight line at least 100 miles an hour over the ground in a light piston still makes a big difference compared to driving. If the roads are good, not so much. You can do an average of 60 miles an hour, but it still does shave off quite a lot of time. 6-7 hour journey. I think it's 4.5 with no traffic. So getting that down to 2 hours each way is pretty good. So we'll wait until we turn, and we have 50 miles descent. Approach briefing we've done is going to be the procedure for ILS 12. It's 160 at 9 knots, so that makes sense. Have OK, 21 degrees, 13 dew point, 50, so we'll see what we get on arrival. Arrows set 510. Crossfeed for the fuel is off. Lights as required, all off. Signs out it's still off. Packs advised that we are just about to start our descent. So I'm going to take CSC off. Bring the speed back to 275. Start our descent. There's 50 miles. go. Power back to idle. Flight level change, and I think this will be far, far too much. Rate of descent. So we may have to moderate this out a little bit. 7 minutes at 3,000 feet. That'll easily get us down. And of course we are carrying some extra speed through. We have got to lose that and come back to at least 240. You see we are dropping like a stone. So I think we're the only one inbound to Newquay. Everyone's doing their bit to respect it. MPT 214 Hotel 763 from Stansted. Really? Is NPT? Is that a call sign? West Atlantic, formerly Atlantic Airlines, British Cargo Airline, M2. Okay. Fine, didn't know that. Probably says in his flight plan, doesn't it? Remark. Go in down. Oh, yeah, 075. That's a bit key. Do 550. So the mist is out to hold. It looks like the hold is in there anyway. Because of course we can't put that one in the NDB, we can't even manually do hold. So it has to be part of the procedure. What have we got over here? Plymouth? Yeah, that looks like the sprawling monstrosity that is Plymouth with what used to be an airfield. There it is. Now the runway's still there, but it isn't used as an airfield, which is desperately sad because it's a great little spot. You can't take big jets in there, but you can take regional stuff and take private machines too. So 5 minutes, we're going to have to reduce this vertical speed, so I'm going to bring this back to 2,000 feet a minute. Do with reducing the speed anyway. Back to 240, because we are coming up on 10,000 feet. So even that was pretty mad keen. The aeroplane does come down pretty spectacularly when it wants to. It's taking us to the NDB, and you can see there was hardly any difference in our track there. Five minutes. You need to be down 6,000 feet, so that we can certainly bring this back to about 1,500. Get a continuous descent going. Might actually bring it back to 1,000. Yeah, that's going to get our speed back. We'll keep a little bit of power on. And can we see Newquay? Yes, just about. It's out there. There we are. We are below 250. There's 10. set 1020. PFD standard off. Still 1027, 123, 1020 Zulu, 15010. So 1027 just set it, there you go, 2 clicks, that's fine. What comes screaming in, is there a procedure? 210, max 210, so we can scream outbound. At least 180, 160. Miles, that won't take long. Mist is climbed to 2.5, straight ahead to 3 DME. I knew INWQ is what we've got, which is not ideal. Let's disable that one because there is a decent wind. Still picks up the DME, which is an irritation. Just going to increase the rate of descent a little. I don't mind being slightly high over wing because there's nobody else. Descend all the way down. Newquay traffic, prefect 99, 12 miles to the east, inbound ILS runway 12, Newquay traffic. Maybe online anyway. And whoever's behind us is well and truly behind us. As in, they're only just sort of over Southampton. Oh no, they're coming over. Just coming up to Exeter, so they're far enough behind that it's not going to affect. Bring the power back just to keep the speed under control. Seatbelt signs. The Eden project should be out here. I don't know if you can see that. Is that it over there? Are those the domes? Not sure. That's 6 miles to run. So the approach is active. Procedure 210, so I have got this a little bit hot. I need to look at the speed brake just to bring it back as we get overhead the beacon for a minute. Is the speed going to come back? To help bring it back. So just out by a couple of knots. I don't want to touch the speed brake for that. Newquay traffic, prefect 99. Overhead Newquay, beacon outbound, altitude 5,000 feet. are going to go down to 2,000 feet. For the intercept, we've got 8 miles outbound, so 16 to run. I think we're doing okay. Lead off some of this speed. It's meant to be a level turn, but I don't think we'll need it. Bring the speed bug back to 160. Little lighthouse out there. Oh no, aircraft carrier. That's pretty accurate for at the moment, I guess. So we've got a bit of a tailwind now. So that'll be 8 until 5 level, which is those two. Oh, 85, India, November, Echo, Whiskey, vector tuned and identified. Should be 8 DME in turn, but this has got, that looks like 8.7, whatever. Bring that back to 500 feet a minute, 1,000 feet to lose. Traffic, prefect 99, turning final, ILS, runway 12, Newquay traffic. Or is this the base turn? I suppose technically they call it base, but military pilot says final turn, it's a continuous turn. There's 160, everything's coming back nicely. So, what's it, 122? Select flap 1. Correct course, localizer accelerated a little bit there, I didn't want to do that. Light slope's coming in, we have flap 1. And we can keep the speed up, 7 miles out. That worked out quite nicely, more luck than judgment than anything. It just shows you can come in pretty hot. We have not captured the glide slope yet, so I'm just going to try and creep this back so that we don't level off, although we may in. So localizers captured. GS should capture, it's at least armed. So flap 2, gear down. Set for the mist. Of course that keeps you apart by 1,000 foot if somebody's coming overhead. That's why higher wasn't an issue, but lower is. gear down 3 green. Flap 2, landing flap not set, your damper is going to be turned off, speed brake is up, go around attitude set, noise protection. And we'll be full flap for landing. So we've got flap 2, so we can select flap 3 because there's no difference, it just gives the airplane into landing mode. Speed back, we could go flap 4 now. I'm happy to leave it a little bit later. Be configured by 500.
Approaching
got
1,
7
2.
Let's see. I think 111 was our VREF. Keep a little bit more speed than that. I'm going to go for a fixed +5.
Autopilot.
Them just drifting away. Oh, like it's slightly out of trim.
500. 400.
Gradually trying to correct that.
300. 200.
Continue. Looking at the aiming point at the far end of the runway to get aligned.
100.
50. Spoilers are up. -10, that was smooth. Ooh. There's this thump in the way. And I think we've missed our exit because of that slight float. Oh, have we really got to go all the way down to the end? That's embarrassing. Should have got a bit more heavily on the brakes. Whoa, that's me turning the nose wheel steering back on. No, we can vacate here, can't we? Well, it looks like we can. I bet we can't in reality. Is this Echo? Oh, if this is Charlie, then happy days. That was actually what I was planning. It is, you know. Newquay traffic, prefect 99, runway vacated. Yeah, the tower's there, so yes, this is Charlie. This is where I was planning on vacating. So actually we went screaming past Bravo. That's what I thought we had gone past. This is Charlie. Oh, we park. Let's go up over towards the tower, shall we? Lights off. Speed where it is. Not select. I'm going to set to 1. I'm not going to have a replay because you're going to do a turnaround. is a stand up here by the tower, which I think we can park on. So let's have a little bit of a cheat and a look. Would we be able to get out? No, probably not, so let's go around here. Yeah, we'll go the other side of this white line because I think we can just about squeeze in here. Can we try that? Actually, let's go round here, park just in this bit here. Something like that will do us. Brakes on. It is 10:54. We got 1270. Don't actually know what the turnarounds are for this, but that's us arrived. So turn off the overlay and we'll disconnect because we've got to resubmit a flight plan. Right, so that one's been filed. Excellent landing, okay, we'll get rid of that. The airplane has been made safe. Batteries and everything on, there's nothing else to do. Surely pumps can come off just to save that. Baggage and the door's open, it's understandable. As you can see here, the pressure altitude at the moment is -50, that makes sense. And we'll reconnect to VATSIM. That's the flight plan, DAWLY November 17 to Omit. Pop that back on. You should see. That's a bit of a monstrosity to be doing. Self-vectoring. I certainly didn't hear any calls. We're offline for a little bit. Something tells me he won't call up. Again, what's the point in flying online? So, whilst we are getting all of our packs loaded, there should be a 767 out here. There is. Gear down already. Interesting. So we need 1030 for our trip back. Got to change our payload. That is a big old beastie. Looks like it's dragging in a bit. Dragging in and a bit low. Not sure that's the correct livery, but whatever, probably doesn't exist. So let's, we're going to leave our fuel as it is. 1270, which is again more than enough. We've only got 15 minutes extra on the way back. 1030 was what we needed, including a 15-minute extra. Again, we were limited by payload cargo, so payload 950 is the max. Let's take 946. .946 plus 5500 gives us 6446. Plus 270, max is 1709. 7716. And if our zero fuel is 6446. Total weight 7716, so we will do planning for departure at 8. Because we are not going to get down to 76. 76 take away 646 is 1154. So 954, 754, 4. Our alternate fuel is 30 minutes plus Brise, so 209 plus 221 is 430. That's not going to get us down to 68. If we did end up going to Brise and with our legal minimum of 209, be below that, 68 is going to be our absolute lowest. Our trip estimate is 375. Take us down to 895. So landing, do landing 74, 72. I think 72 is probably going to be the one I'll actually plan for. We'll see how we get on. Transponder should have been on standby when we shut down. Should go off anyway. I don't think the batteries would end up that discharged that quickly. But I don't know. So let's clear the flight plan. We are going back to DAWLY. Number 17 to OpMet. And then inbound. There is an arrival. The OpMet 1 Hotel. If you look here, there is no departure. And we can expect 25 vectors. The barrow on arrival minimum was 425. Again, we will take the more conservative today, 2.5% missed approach gradient, which 2.5 is 155 feet per nautical mile. So if we were to go around at 120 or 150, we need a rate of climb 380. I think we could easily manage 760. So I'm actually happy to go with 374, 380. Load that. And there we go. So I don't think we need to do any of the tests again, so we've all done them. Nothing has changed. Just loading up the charts for our arrival. Do the performance. Interesting, the forecast says runway 30. I'm going to leave 1085 set unless, let's check the weather. (140) at 9. Well, that's still runway 12, isn't it? So we will keep the approach on that, 122. There's no SIDS. The noise abatement is departures, runway 12, aircraft less than 5.7 kilos, that's not us. Climb straight ahead until 2390. So 2,000 feet above the aerodrome. QNH is still 1027. The pressure altitude you can see there is sea level. Didn't hear that guy call up at all. Well, what on earth is the point? No text, no call. I mean, when there is another airplane on the ground, it's just all a bit odd. So we'll go straight ahead and then we'll do direct 2. So we need heading 122, course 122. We will, of course, back on GPS. And that's EGHQ. Don't think so. So our cruise is actually 370. So we'll climb straight ahead to 3, remember 2390, and then we can turn. So what I actually wanted to do is beep at 24, so let's set 34. And we can turn, it's an easy way of doing it. Then we are going to climb 370, and the restrictions for the OPMET. Ockham again, 7. Speed limit point, 13. 21 at Needle. At 270. It's fine, we can manage all of those. Now, during periods of congestion, descent planning. Planned descent clearance as follows, but it will actually be by ATC. So, 7 overhead Ockham and then straight over the top actually works out quite well. So, what I think I'm going to do is confirm that one. And then we'll probably end up just going straight over the top of the round just to get out of the way of all the arrivals that come in. It keeps you nice and high over Heathrow. And if you vector this way, things are coming round here. It just gives you a little bit more space to do it this way. Good. So I'm happy with that departure. It's just a case of doing the performance now. That's the wrong thing. So we can do the landing first, and I already said we're going to plan for 7.2. Now we can do the distances on arrival. The pressure is going to be sea level. Going to use flap full at 0. So 7.4 gives us 780. 766, 7751. Those are all more than enough when you look at the landing beyond the threshold for runway 25. 1558 times 0.6. We need 934. Easily got that. If we take the shorter, if we get a runway change, 1501. That gives us 900.6 required, and we're still well under that. And even if we took a 10 knot at 7.4, we're going to struggle, but at 7.2 we're still fine. That's what we're going to plan for. 7.2. Good. So if I clear all that and then go back to the beginning, that's a quick way of doing it. Of course, you are meant to check the engine power, because of course that comes in, but in the sim I'm not overly worried. Pressure altitude 1000, no. Flap 1, yes. Wing stab off. There we go. We are going to plan our departure for 8 because we can't do anything else. Oh, what I didn't do was the speeds for landing, which I should have done. Silly. It's 21 degrees, so we'll take 25 at 8. Gives us 1121 meters. 58, and that gives us 107. 118. And down the bottom there, 135. Sorry that I've got to click through and give everyone this awful. Yeah, I didn't think that one through, did I? 60 odd pages. Somebody's going to tell me there's a quick way of doing that. I don't think you can page. So, there we go. Flap 2. Is it approach flap 2? I suppose it is. Landing flap full. This projection not off. By stab on. So speeds 4, 7.4, 1.4, 130, 2, 28, 7, 2, 6. So we're going to take 12128. Bring that up now. EAC 2. Hang on a minute. Am I going mad? If that's exactly the same 7.2, just there. Did I manage to get those all in? No, the payload's changed, hasn't it? So we've taken on board a load of payloads, so that's why that's stayed the same. 107, 118, 135. Just tweak those just to ensure that it registers. Set, and we're good to go. See the battery draining away. I don't think we can do about that. I think I will make a quick toilet break. So ATC wise, Heathrow has still just got ground. So nothing else online. What were our times? You're meant to be 11:45. Yeah, we got loads of time, so we're going to be a bit early. Not going to shut down, but I'll be back in a couple of moments whilst we get loaded. Okay, I'm back. So let's get the doors shut and think about getting going. So self-sufficient. 946 7716, good. I added all that up correct. So we'll run through the checks and then get the door shut at the very last minute. So pre-flights, well, I've already done those. Oxygen bottle, packed auto, pushed in. Still good for dispatch. Elect panel, we haven't got bomb 27. We haven't got the GPU. But we're going to see what we can do anyway. Bleeds all on. Fuel panel, auto off. Auto, hydraulic pump, solenoids come on. Pusher cutout is out. Ice protection not required. ADS auto. Pressurization. You go field elevation and current is correct. It is also set auto and off vent, which we will sort out once we crack on. Engine fire, buttons out, bottles off, start both off, ignition's auto, throttle levers are at idle, speed brakes up, flaps up, and we can shut the door. So we don't need to call up for start. Ground crew, confirm clear to start. It is 11:19. Clear to start, we will start engine number 2. A little bit sluggish to get going. The ITT gets a little bit warm, which is interesting. But here you go, starts to settle down. And we will start engine number 1, confirm with the ground crew there's no GPU to disconnect. Self-sustaining and a little bit better. Both engines are now stable. Cabin's starting to cool down with the AC on. ECS set to both, and the GPU was never connected. Elec emergency. You can check is pushed out, and we have got 23.5, 28.5 on both. It's all protection tested. Don't know if you'd have to check that again. I'm not sure. Takeoff data is set. Trims both set neutral. Pitch is green. Flight controls, you always check those every single time, even if it's just a land and a touch and go, a land taxi back. In the circuit, for instance, always check your flying controls. Ground. Sweep brake. Conduit set up. Ice protection not required. Flap 1 departure. Flap 1 selected. Flap 1 set. Transponders on, lights on, belts on. Let's get going. It is 11:21. We have 264. We could probably take an intersection, but I haven't actually looked. Oh yeah, we'll go 5 Bravo. Just ahead, I think. Newquay traffic, prefect 99. Taxiing, stand 18, Bravo, hold short, runway 12. Newquay traffic. Brakes off, lights are on for taxi, airplane moving. Brakes do work. Clear left, clear right, get given a C off, and Bravo is actually just over here.
Takeoff. Okay.
So what we really need to do is set direct DAWLY. So before takeoff's checked. Gas is actually clear this time. Okay, everyone's sat down. Damper off. Ice protection required. ATR off. Here's Bravo. Packs advised. Lights. Camera. Action. Icky traffic. Prefect 99 lining up, taking off runway 12 direct DAWLY. Newquay traffic. Just double check on the map, there is nobody about. Rise is our alternate. Discussed our fuel. Performance is done.
Approaching 1, 2.
There's no need for us to hang about. What I will do is take the majority of available though, following this taxi line.
On runway
Correct
1,
runway.
2.
It is 24. We have 1254. Let's go, power. Oh, stable power. Toga set. Toga pushed. Nose wheels locked. Off we go. Applying a lot of forward pressure because of this bump. Now neutral. And still on the throttle. Until V1. Hand off, rotate. Here goes the airplane. Positive rate. Gear up. Here is up.
Minimums.
Gonna climb. Flight change at 160. Dampers on. Flaps up. Gear up. And we're climbing straight ahead, remember. Two 390. There it is. Just set it a bit higher and we'll go direct to wind. Just going to get us heading 090 and then we'll tidy up. So we're going up to 370. Standard set, 090. Let's use vertical speed to smooth this transition out. 2,000 feet a minute. We'll accelerate to 250. We do accelerate past the flap up speed. Landing gear is up, flaps are up, your damper is on, thrust levers, max climb. Pressurization, aeroplane's pressurizing, altimeters both sets then correspond. Less protection required, external lights are still on. So, let's go direct DAWLY. Nav. And you see you can quite happily prioritize these things. Aviate, navigate, communicate. We should be telling Newquay that we're leaving the zone, but hey, there was far too much of that going on. Not bad departure. There you go, you can see the aeroplane is accelerating quite nicely. .250, and the aeroplane's rocketing up, still in max climb, 88.8, 8.9, pressurizing, punters out. So there we go. Not a lot to say. No ATC online still. Passing 10. Lights off, pressurization checked. 3.1, 500 feet a minute. Seatbelts are already off because they're nice and smooth. There we go, direct DAWLY. Stoke Moor out here. Surprised that shows when Bodmin doesn't. Chevener there. Up in the distance. Barnstable out over here. And then we can think about our arrival. Ockham 5-3. In Bovingdon, we've got 1085. Bovingdon 1375. We've got Ockham 5-3. So there we go, set that. Let's do heading select. 250 is what we want for the ILS on 1085. For the ILS at Northo, I am going to set 357. Bovingdon, not Ockham, we'll just use the OBS, but if we do need to hold, we can use CDI. Back onto nav. Oh, we drifted off a bit there, never mind. There we go, happy days. Now, VNav. Let's look. 0.7. Try 3.5, smooth it out a bit. So a few people watching, if you are, do say hi. Chat's been pretty quiet. I mean, thanks for joining. Feel free to ask, you might have missed out the performance. Anything else? Gatwick approach is on, but there's not a lot more to be said. Everything else is ground. Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham. There's still 2-7 left at Heathrow. We're almost at 200. See the cabin still pressurising nicely. Oh, East Mid's approach has come on. That's good. It's no good for us. a glorious day. It's genuinely severe cavalcade all over the UK, and pretty balmy temperatures as well. The max T today is about 26, 29. I think it's 26 air temperature, but it's going to feel a bit warmer in the sun, obviously. Or as we say, scorchio. I'll still get a little bit of interference on the mic, so I do apologise for that. So a little tweak to the noise gate, I don't know if that will help. I suppose the issue is it could be line noise again, which is irritating because it's really difficult to pin down exactly what the issue is. Hello, Ron. Oh, this mic is... Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted by the mic. Did I use the plug-in? No, I didn't. Thanks for joining, firstly. And early Sunday morning. Yeah, I was up pretty early. No, I didn't use the plug-in. I'm still using the PDF, but I will try it at some point. I just wanted to get flying today, rather than have something else to mess about. And as I said at the beginning, which you probably didn't see, having had lots of frame rate issues last time, try and stop messing around with things for the time being. Although it does look really good, and if it's I don't understand Sassel, so I've got to read up on Sassel, which I think means it doesn't need any other libraries or anything like that, does it? Because obviously the updater uses Sassel and it doesn't need anything. So I think it's a good idea. It'd be interesting just to see it and try it out, because as you see, it's actually, that's just me checking the pressurization again, it's actually a bit difficult to estimate fuel burn. SimBrief doesn't really have climb very well, so that needs a bit of a tweak. And climb descent tables and everything are not included, so you can't reliably estimate your actual fuel usage, which is why I've been doing a lot of guesswork and overestimating. So it'd be interesting to see how the plugin does it, whether it leaves it up to people's judgment, or if it does the sim thing of, I want you to work out everything for me. But to be honest, I suppose all you need is a planned weight and a current weight button, and set up for that, I suppose, based on distance. But yeah, every little tool helps. I mean, in reality, of course, everyone is going to be using, they're not going to be using those tables, which aren't particularly different to use. The only reason they take ages on the screen is because they are on the screen. I've got one printed out, but I suppose if you had a book, you could probably have the most common ones to hand very quickly, like the speeds. I mean, that's useful as a graph. I know somebody did do a graph, but it didn't come out very well on my mono printer, so I didn't use it and I couldn't bother to recreate it, even though it's just a line graph in Excel, which should be quite easy. Standalone, cool. I will check it out, and I'll see if I can get it on screen as well. Because like I say, I think it's good that people make these things. Although it is good for my brain to use the tables, because tables and graphs, when you are flying the light single engine stuff, they are all tables and graphs. The Cessna 152, that's all tables and interpolation, and the Warrior is a few very poor quality graphs, shall we say. So always better to overestimate. And to be honest, like I've said, I'm sure I've mentioned it before, the easy and the lazy method is to simply use the absolute max takeoff weight. If you're under that, you may get away with it, and use exactly the same max takeoff weight from it. If you know that both departure and arrival are going to fit that, then when there is nothing to do when it comes to landing speeds, density, altitude, all of that stuff, you know, light single, you're going to fly at 70 knots on approach anyway over the fence 65. There is absolutely nothing to do as long as you get in, and if you've done the max, then you've done it. And if you make it worst case scenario with an extra 1,000 feet, make it an extra, or you do the performance with 10 knot tailwind, and you can still make it, you know, that anything that they throw at you is going to be fine. Within reason, of course, but it means that you can just take that bit of pressure off. Oh, okay, so you've still got to do the weight. Okay. Which again, can make a difference. And you've seen the nice easy way to do it is just sit standard on the ground. And then that does give you a QNE, which people think standard is QNE, Q code like QNH. It isn't. QNE is what is the altitude value. If I set standard at the aerodrome, I think QNE is corrected for temperature as well, which your altimeter would be ISA. So if temperature does vary, it can vary slightly, but that's why those tables are pressure altitude and not density altitude. If you want density altitude, you've got to factor temperature as well. And after all that chat, here we are, top of climb. So I am going to leave it in max climb as we accelerate. And decimal 74 is what I pick now for everything, which is I pay for the fuel. So yeah, lots of very small details like pressure altitude versus density altitude. Density altitude includes temperature, pressure altitude doesn't. But then the tables for the Phenom include the outside temperature, which means that they are giving density altitude. Or they are at least, you're calculating density altitude by running down that table. You're not giving yourself the altitude, but that's the easiest way. Those are the two things that you can measure, and it's a lot quicker to do that than it is to try and work it out. There you go, look, GPU is not working. Hope it stays that way. Not working, I mean not working very hard. Putting a lot of effort. Gatwick's on, Heathrow Brown still. Still 27 left at 11:20, that's 20 minutes ago. Information Tango. Would of course have to give them Tango. I'm going to set 1027 because that is what they are using. And yes, before anyone says you wouldn't do this in reality, but it's not as easy as it's just a much easier reminder. Oh, we're on the arrival. That was us at 270. So do we need to be at needle? Yes, we do. No, I'll tell you what, we're going to do a continuous descent because these are anticipated by ATC and there's no ATC online. That was what I was thinking about, wasn't it? So we're going to go for the next one. You can see there is 7 o'clock. We've got a minute for that. And our descent's going to be 070 or 275. So let's set 070. And I'm going to use our rule of thumb again of 2.5 idle path descent, I think. So we've got 30 to lose times 2.5 gives us 75. Once we're 75 miles away from Ockham, that's not going to be So cumulative distance, it's in a straight line. So let's call it about. We got there. Oh, I can't add all these up. 15, 20, 35, 45, 55, 60. Let's just end it. Just guess. Just guess. Enjoy your breakfast, Ron. Thanks very much. I look forward to seeing you again soon. So we're talking difference between line of sight, beamline, and track miles. So we can start to bring that back. Put the windshield heat on. Arrow set. There's the Isle of Wight ahead of us, which we'll be going over. Aggressive man there. So I'm going to bring this back gradually, just simultaneously. Trying to make it nice and smooth for the passengers. I did all my good work there. Never mind. So we have got speed restriction. Let's not forget that. Shanix 673 out to our left. Can we see them? Crossing left to right, and below us. Guess not. Shame. Oh, what's that disused airfield? That'd be nice. There he is. Looks like Jet 2 as well. That's 283, 400 over the ground. He's going to Jersey. Tidy little dart, ripping down, and I think we will change to speed. Don't forget, there's our 250, so I'm not going to go for 275. That would be a bit too quick. Gatwick approach, still nothing else. So 27 left. So we have set for the approach. 085 meters. approach briefing completed. Like I said, we're going to go straight over Heathrow to keep out of everyone's way at 70. Great with all the traffic. We're going to go direct overhead, do a right hand turn and self-position for the ILS for 25. Landing data has been set. We have got 86 and 9. So I planned for 7.2, we need to be landing at 7.54. Oops. We might be a bit slow. So I might, as we intercept, have to just update the data, because I don't think we're going to get down to 7.54. So why don't I play it safe and do it now? All we've got to do is update the V speeds, and we're going to go 114, 130. And that's easy enough to do, isn't it? Though? There we go. You can do that downwind, but it's better to be safe than sorry, so we'll plan for 7.4, which we're already at. If we get down to 7.54, we can reduce it by a couple of knots. So we have got 14,000 to go, haven't we? How far are we from 21? And a little bit of speed to lose. Passing 200. Cabin isn't coming down yet, it ends up coming down pretty steep. Elevation set. Frames I'm pretty happy with, I can live with that. There's the Isle of Wight, still never been. I don't know if we can get this in. I forget that, so there's two airfields, Bembridge and Sandown. I forget which one's got tarmac. We should make a trip to the Isle of Wight in this. We managed to get in and out of Shoreham. So I'd have to check the runway length. So we've got 15 miles. 7 down to Ockham. He's at 1.3, so of course we're a little bit higher, but that's fine. A little bit of traffic going into Gatwick. Don't think I want to speak to us, but I'm listening anyway. And this arrival should keep us clear of them anyway. What's Moz as a call sign? Farnborough to Lipa. See, Cessna 25. Don't know. So we have got 2 minutes to go. We want to be at 250 and then 220 at Ockham, so I am going to switch to vertical speed. I'll come back to 2,000 feet a minute if I can. I'm going to bring the speed back to 20.
Skyway 493, leave timber heading 350 degrees.
Leave timber heading 350, Skyway 493.
Are they holding? Can't be that busy, surely. Oh, he's got some people on text as well.
Delta Tango Alpha, descent level 130, level Tel 2.
130, attitude to Delta Tango Alpha.
So 1120, still 27 left, still Tango 1027. Gatwick has got 1027 as well. rocket. So there you go. You can see that we have managed down 250 and by 10 as well. You still need to keep this coming back. Ockham. So 10. Device is off. Phone's on silent. Let's come back a little bit more to get the speed back, because we will be 12 miles from Ockham. Don't want to keep that speed coming back, so gradually keep the speed up as we go over the top. Of course, we do need to slow down, come back in, so we'll head direct. Activate the approach whilst on heading and position ourselves, just to keep out of the way of everything coming into Heathrow. Lambourne does sort of that, Bovington does of that, so if we end up out here there might be a bit of a conflict as we're descending through. So 2 minutes, speed's coming back at a reasonable rate. Anti-ice on as we pop through these clouds. CPU's working hard, which is fine, but GPU has been what's causing problems. 7 checked. Speed is coming back nicely now. 2 minutes to go and 1,000 feet, so let's bring this back even more. Just goes to show how quickly this aeroplane will come down.
Contact at tower 124.225.
Not that we're going to cause much noise. If we don't manage a continuous descent. So you can see traffic situation, it is quite busy.
Got forward on a tree to a truck mount, then to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1027.
We could probably just get away with doing that. Straight towards Lambourne. Shall we try it? Something different? Heading. So there's Bovington. There's Pop Lambourne.
Descent 3,000 meters, carried 493.
5, 6. Only because there is no traffic that I can see that is inbound, so we can go direct instead of going all around the houses. That was a Singapore 1400 S2 Singapore Tower, so I think it's not too far away for us. So, what I am going to do now, that doesn't feel good, but it's okay. I am going to activate approach. We're not going to do that. I'm going to have straight ahead, and then we'll probably do an intercept of 220, which is something like that. So once we get to about here, do a left turn, try and keep the speed up. We'll wind it back to 180. We are heading, we don't need nav. So nav 1 can go to 1085, we've got set. See if I can come on to that. BFD, because we're going to need to set standard in a minute. Keep the anti-ice on for a moment. We're doing fuel 849754 yet, nowhere near dropping down to 72. A few stutters. As long as the GPU doesn't come crashing to a halt. I think it might have been London VFR that was killing it, but then I'm not quite sure why it was. It's looking nice. So let's start our descent down to 5.
Anti-for traffic, Swiss Street, vacated Memphis, for traffic.
Anti-for traffic, speed of 214, taking off to C7.
And we are descending, so we need to set 1027, 027. CPU's working hard, and that's fine. As long as we stay 25 to 30, I'm happy. Especially with the shadows on and everything turned up. What I'm going to do is bring the power all the way back to idle now to get the speed back. So we just set cross-checked, arrows set for the higher rate of climb. Crossfeed is off, mature heat is on, correction, external lights on as required, signs all on, packs advised, we've got about 5-10 minutes to landing. So like I say, I only took this shortcut, not really a shortcut, but just took this because it didn't appear to be anything inbound that was going to affect. This one might be inbound via Bothington, but it's relatively quiet. So. And we are just on a heading, sort of going towards Lambourne. Lambourne we won't need to change, so I've got that ready to flick over.
Heathrow traffic, speedbird 2490, we're going to be lining up runway 27 left, 5 November, Bravo 3.
How's that to go? Let's keep going down. The intercept is 1804. I'll try and aim for about 10 miles at 3-ish. Stratford in the Olympic Park straight ahead. So, bringing the speed back further still. Over the centre of London, lots of buildings. It's still holding up well. No GS yet. Let's head north.
Heathrow traffic, speedbird 2490, taking off runway 27 left. Heathrow traffic.
Keep the speed up initially, a bit stuttery. And I think we'll go direct now. Oh no. go. There's 280 for a 30-degree intercept. It's not quite that. Speed's coming back nicely.
249 coming through 2,500.
Coming through. Passing. So let's match heading. There we go. NHT. So we will continue down to 1800. Oh, I was a little bit keen on that, wasn't I? So let's intercept. There we are, going through the localizer. So just because that little distraction there. Flap 1 in anticipation. Out. F2 can go to Bovingdon. Glide slope is armed. Take flap 2, we're still within the limit. And that's bringing us down, isn't it? Keep this as clean an approach with gear up for as long as we can. The mist is straight ahead. Right turn 2000 to 24. There's Wembley, although it ain't right. Maybe I'll have a word with X-Europe and see if they can do something about that rather than just being a building. But maybe London VFR was what was killing it, the GPU. Five miles, don't need to get down yet. So Norfolk Park Hospital and Harrow on the Hill down here.
Traffic Seabird, Concourse 3, passing Seahouse, Compton, Seahouse departure.
Ortho traffic, Prefect 99, final ILS 253 miles. Don't look like there's anybody on the ground anyway. Flap 3, and then full flap. Stable by 500 is what I'm going for. We're building right in the middle of the road, that's not great.
Approaching 2-5.
Autopilot.
Glide slope.
We're fine. Oh, we're floating.
4,000 feet remaining. 3,000
Full
remaining.
brakes. Get the flaps up to help. That was a bit of a thump down, wasn't it? That was real floaty. But hey, we got there in the end. I've done better, but that was very floaty. I'll have to look at the replay to see if we were actually a bit quick. Ortho traffic, prefect 99, runway vacated. Transponder has gone to on. We are set odd anyway. Flaps up, trim is set. Spoilers are up, they deployed by themselves and then they retract by themselves as well. Do you reckon these signs are a bit too big? I think they are. I'll head back in on the VIP stand. So you can see why you use the 1.43 or the 0.6 LDA method, because we wouldn't have got that down in the minimum amount of time needed even with me getting the flap up. A bit non-standard, but that does improve, should improve the weight on wheels, making the wing less efficient. Gets the weight on wheels better than the drag that full flap provides. Oh no, we want to go to 6, don't we? My bad, not 5. Like I say, this is on the gateway now, so you can download it. I think I've still got a lot more tweaks to do, personally. That's us on stand. It is 12:13. What was this done? Or was that Volanta? Probably. Complete now. I'm happy with that. Second person to arrive there today. Somebody else is doing it too. Somebody will have jumped open and got the other door open. Got 808. We tanked all that fuel there and back. It's good, wasn't it? Oh, not bad parking. Probably could have done a bit better. Welcome back. That was fun. Disconnect from VATSIM. Get rid of all the other stuff. And we can have a look at the replay. 144, bit of a thump. At least the frame rate is held up today. So let's have a look. Where's this? I'm trying to find some ground features. We've gone straight over London. So that looks awfully like M1. So I think this is Kingsbury. Doesn't quite look it, but it is. Don't know why that's there. That's not there in reality. There's a church up on the hill. That's why it's 3.5 degrees this approach. We still have loads left to play with. Anyway, there we go. Happy days. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for joining. Might be flying again later, but I'm not sure. So if not, if I do, great. If not, have a great day, whatever you get up to. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.